Kai.
Correct. Brad, spell blasphemy.
B-L-A-S-P-H-E-M-Y.
Correct. Amy, what N is the practice of communicating with the dead to predict the future?
Pass.
Necromancy. What four-letter word links cry to hound?
Baby.
Wolf. Which stately Henry's surname is hidden in this phrase?
Pass.
Kissinger. What six-letter word links holy to Derby?
Pass.
Roller. Which desert is hidden in this phrase?
Mojave.
Correct. Brad, spell bailiff.
B-A-I-L-I-F-F.
Correct. Amy, what business leader's name is an anagram of the phrase legal bits?
Pass.
Bill Gates. Separate the director from his movie in this scramble.
Hitchcock Psycho.
Correct. Amy, you're out of time. Brad, you keep 51.68 seconds to take through to the final round.
Oh.
Well,
Wow. That's quite disappointing for Amy, Dennis.
yes, let me just say this. So far, this is the Mask of Nefertiti of pummelings. It's getting ugly up there. We got one more round, though. Who knows? Are there double points or anything in the last round?
Well, Dennis, she is very far behind. In fact, to be precise, 1 minute 42.47 seconds behind. She used up all her switches, but she'll get another one in the final round. Now, Brad has answered 77% correct to Amy's 36%. So I think if she has any chance of getting this next round, those percentages are going to have to be reversed.
flip. Well, a lot can happen in a minute and 42 and 47 100 seconds, not the least of which is consummation of the game. Of course, consummation of the game I'm talking about. Only one more round to go until one of these two will be heading to the quarterfinals. We'll see if Amy can come back from way behind to beat Brad in the all-important final round when we return.
And, of course, later, Millionaire's Ed Toutant faces Jeopardy champ and somebody who's proud to have won Ben Stein's money, Leszek. Lots more to come.
Well, welcome back to the final round of this somewhat one-sided matchup. Jeopardy's Brad Rutter a long way ahead of Lingo's Amy Kelly. May I be as bold to say that if Amy pulls this out, I think we'll see Satan showing up in a North Face parka. All right.
Well, I will channel my inner psychic and say I think it's going to be very difficult for Amy to come back tonight, but we'll see. After all, Brad Rutter has won all 3 rounds and has 1 minute 42.47 seconds to take with him to this final round, while Amy has no extra time going in.
The time has come. Let's join our contestants. They are now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions. Contestants, this is the final round. Brad, you kept 1 minute 42.47 seconds from earlier rounds. That means you have a total of 2 minutes 42.47 seconds on your clock. Amy, you kept no time from the earlier rounds. Both contestants receive an additional switch. That means Brad has 2 switches. Amy has 1 switch left to use. Brad, you'll go first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. What X is an unreasonable fear of strangers?
Xenophobia.
Correct. Amy, what is the term for a young swan?
Gosling.
Signet. Fill in the spaces below to make the name of what famous figure from American history?
Harriet Tubman.
Correct. Brad, what does the P stand for in the HTTP of a web address?
Protocol.
Correct. Amy, what is the sum of the numbers on a pair of regular 6-sided dice?
48.
42. What fashion designer was born Ralph Lifshitz in New York City in 1939?
Ralph Lauren.
Correct. Brad, if Bob is the cartoonist, Joe is the quarterback, and Helena is the capital, what word am I looking for?
Montana.
Correct. Amy, what Mona Lisa Smile actress's first and last name is an anagram of Ya Lama Legging?
Pass.
Maggie Gyllenhaal. What is 9.1 minus 3.9 plus 1.2?
9.5.
6.4. Pretzel was the original name for what Milton Bradley game that tests people's flexibility?
Twister.
Correct. Brad, in the 7 major levels of taxonomic classification, what category comes after family and before species?
Genus.
Correct. Amy, what former pro quarterback was the Republican candidate for vice president of the United States in 1996?
Switch.
Jack Kemp.
Correct. Amy, built by business tycoon Howard Hughes, the enormous H4. Amy, you're out of time. The correct answer is Bruce Goose. Brad, you are tonight's Grand Slam winner.
Amy got stomped like a naked fat guy at Altamont. And I'm shocked that Ralph Lauren changed his name from Ralph Lipschitz, because I think Lauren sounds vaguely naughty.
Well, I gotta say, I mean, we all knew that the number one seed,
Yeah,
Brad
Rutter's
Rutter.
good, Rutter's good.
He had the trivia steaming ahead knowledge.
Let me tell you about Rutter. I don't think there's any baffle chamber in there. I think it goes from the thinks box out the pie hole, and there isn't much in between. He flicks the jab, and he flicks it. She got a little hung up. Once in a while you panic, game over with a guy like that. It's like playing Bobby Fischer in Reykjavik.
Which I've done once.
Exactly. We all. Well, congratulations to Brad. Let's take a look at the tournament bracket here.
Well, it looks like our top seed, Brad Rutter, will be battling it out with one of these very closely seeded contestants, Nancy Christie or Ogie Ogus.
Ogie Ogus, of course, the first Tolkien character to make it this far in the tournament. Coming up next, the true battle of the Titans commences when Millionaire's almost $2 million man, Ed Toutant, Où est la bibliothèque, comes up against his most feared enemy, the steely-eyed one, Leszek Pawlowicz. More Grand Slam coming your way right after the break.
Two trivia powerhouses face off next. Will Millionaire's Ed Toutant put his opponent in the hot seat? Or will Leszek Pawlowicz place Ed's Grand Slam hopes in jeopardy? Find out when Grand Slam returns.
When you get up there and the time is just running out, your mind just goes blank. So at home, you may think that I completely spaced out. You are correct, but it was more nerves than anything. And after that first round, it was just so discouraging that your body just kind of sheds down. And but I tried as best as I could. It was a humbling experience, and at this point, I'm just wishing Brad the very best. I have a feeling he's going to be in the top two, so go Brad.
Other than the math, I felt I did pretty well. So, you know, hopefully the questions will get a little easier, although I know that's probably a vain hope. In the quarterfinals, I'm hoping that I can somehow grow a calculated brain in between now and then. So we'll see if that works out. But otherwise, I'll just have to do well enough in the other 3 rounds to make up for my deficit there.
Hey, folks, welcome back to opening round action on Grand Slam, where the best and brightest in the history of game shows battle it out for $100,000 and a fancy crystal trophy, and probably most importantly, bragging rights. Brad Rutter has just sent Amy Kelly packing in our first competition of the night, and now it's time for our next matchup, a true rumble in the game show jungle.
That's right, Dennis. Millionaire's Ed Toutant, who won $1.87 million on Millionaire, comes up against the man he's told us that he's most worried about, Leszek Pawlowicz. Leszek's something of a legend himself. He took first place in the 1992 Jeopardy Tournament of Champions. He won Ben Stein's money and has been right 6 out of 6 times on Phone a Friend on Millionaire. Both are known and revered in the game show community, but only one will be going home disappointed tonight after what may prove to be an epic encounter. But first, let's get to know these game show gods a little better, shall we?
Ed Toutant, Austin, Texas. I've been on 3 game shows. I've been on Jeopardy, The Challengers, and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Of those 3, the big one was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I stumbled on the $16,000 question. They said, okay, sorry, you're wrong. So they moved on to the next contestant, and I went home with $1,000. I did a little research when I got home, and the best way of saying it, that there's maybe 2 correct answers. And once I showed that to the producers of Millionaire, they had no problem. They invited me back to, sorry, it was a bad question, and we'll just throw it out and have you back on the show. C, insecticide is my final answer. I was on during a special time when they had a growing bonus. So by the time I wanted it, it was actually $1.86 million.
Gentlemen, you're very welcome to Mother Egan's Irish Pub.
Trivia night was always Tuesday night at Mother Egan's.
You know, Ed and his buddies, you know, just embarrassed the hell out of most of the other teams.
We're probably the most hated team here. Just the place to be on Tuesday night. Well, the great thing about being on Grand Slam is to be considered one of the top 16 people, one of the all-stars of game show history.
I think Ed is going to whip everybody's ass.
It feels great to have Mayor Wynn in my corner. I bet that's something that none of the other contestants have going for them.
Leszek Pawlowicz, Flagstaff, Arizona. I was on Jeopardy in 1991 and 1992.
Leszek.
It was 80,000.
Correct.
Literary relatives for 1,000.
Win Ben Stein's Money in 1999. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in 1999 and 2000. And then Jeopardy again in 2005. Winning the money allowed me to quit the job that I had before and to move up here to Flagstaff. This part of the country is great for hiking. I mean, there's so many different opportunities.
The amount of information the man has is insane.
I don't really play that much trivia. I don't really see the point because I'm almost always going to win, and it's just showing off.
I think on Grand Slam, I think he'll do very well.
It's going to be interesting coming up face to face with somebody answering the question. In all the other shows that I've been on, it's been podiums, and you don't directly face the person in that intimidating manner.
Amanda, what do you make of the Romulus and Remus of the medulla oblongata here? Handicap this match for me.
Huh? Well, Dennis, I think this is a key first-round matchup. Both of these guys are very evenly paired. They're both very well-rounded players. Leszek, as we said, a legend in his own lunchtime, and Ed, a very determined guy who disputed the millionaire guys for a wrong question.
Well, it's certainly two-minute principle here. We'll see who bends first. Now, Ed and Leszek are entering the arena.
Looks like our players are now ready for round one. So for the first time tonight, they are in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions. Round one is a general knowledge round. Earlier, you tossed a coin to see who should go first, and Ed, you lost, so you'll answer the first question. Your clock will start to count down now. What magazine shares its name with a novel by William Makepeace Thackeray?
Vanity Fair.
Correct. Leszek, what is the state animal of New Jersey?
Pass.
Horse. The current Secretary General of the United Nations hails from what country?
South Korea.
Correct. Ed, Rumor, Scout, and Tallulah are the three daughters of what former celebrity couple?
Demi Moore and Bruce Willis.
Correct. Leszek, what is the last name of the Star Wars character Lando?
Calrissian.
Correct. Ed, the chocolate swamp recently replaced the molasses swamp in what board game?
Candyland.
Correct. Leszek, what African nation is only bordered by Libya and Algeria?
Tunisia.
Correct. Ed, what actress received an Academy Award nomination for her role as the wife of Henry Hill in Goodfellas?
Pass.
Lorraine Bracco. Who was the first Treasury Secretary of the United States?
Alexander Hamilton.
Correct. Leszek, what game's name is an abbreviation of a Japanese phrase meaning only single numbers allowed?
Go.
Sudoku. The first name of what George W. Bush cabinet member comes from an Italian musical term meaning with sweetness?
Condoleezza.
Correct. What pop singer's first two lines of perfume were called Curious and Fantasy?
Jennifer Lopez.
Britney Spears. In what country is the Tagalog language primarily spoken?
Philippines.
Correct. Leszek, what canal connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea?
Suez Canal.
Correct. Ed, in 2006, George W. Bush took the Prime Minister of what country on a tour of Graceland?
Russia.
Japan. What was the Air Force rank of Chuck Yeager when he broke
Colonel.
the sound barrier in 1947? Captain. Played in the movies by Matt Damon, fictional assassin Jason Bourne. Ed, you're out of time. The correct answer is Robert Ludlum. You lose round one. Leszek, you keep 19.06 seconds to take through to the final round.
Well, I have to say here, we all knew that Ed was petrified of Leszek, and rightly so, but he wasn't that far behind him. I mean, this is starting out to be a pretty competitive game. Ed has answered 5 out of 9 questions correctly, and Leszek 5 out of 7. Now, neither contestant used any of their switches, and after round one, Leszek is in the lead with 19.06 seconds to take with him into the final round, Dennis.
Everything can change with the numbers and logic round, which some say is the toughest, most stressful part of this game. That and much more when we return right after 2 and 2, Woolery. Hey folks, welcome back to Grand Slam. Now, we've already crowned one winner tonight, Brad Rutter, who pretty much whipped up on Amy Kelly, but tonight's second competition is now officially underway with millionaires Ed Toutant, and he's battling with a former Jeopardy champion, Leszek Pawlowicz, for a coveted spot in our quarterfinals. I saw no switches used there, and I believe the first time that happened, along with the use of the bow, was 1066 at the Battle of Hastings. It doesn't happen frequently. No switches used. How do you think that augurs for the next round, Dennis?
No switches used. Well, the next round is numbers and logic, Dennis, which is not an easy round for most people, the average person, you or I. However, both Ed and Leszek are computer guys.
Oh, they are?
They certainly are. They're both trivia guys. They're both computer guys.
So we're not going to see any counting on the fingers here. These guys.
Certainly not. Not like you or I. Yeah.
All
The other thing is that Leszek seems very cool as a cucumber. But he has said he may seem like that on the outside, but he's a nervous wreck on the inside.
All right.
So,
well, let's watch the numbers and logic round. Ed and Leszek duke it out again. Once again, they are now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions. Round 2 is the numbers and logic round. Ed has 3 switches. Leszek has 3 switches. Leszek, you'll be going first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. What is 2.4 times 4.2?
Switch. 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 Pass.
10.08. What is 2/7 of 49?
Oh, 14.
Correct. Leszek, what is 26 plus 27 plus 28?
81.
Correct. Ed, if 1 euro equals $1.25 in US dollars, how many euros equal 10 US dollars?
8.
Correct. Leszek, in inches, what is the perimeter of a hexagon with equal sides, each measuring 3 feet?
216 inches.
Correct. Ed, how is 222 expressed in Roman numerals?
CC, XX, II.
Correct. Leszek, if ice cream cones cost 71 cents each, what is the maximum number you could get for $4?
5.
Correct. Ed, if some cats are hip and all musicians are hip, do we know if any musicians are cats?
No.
Correct. Leszek, what is 15% of 80?
12.
Correct. Ed, what does y equal in this equation?
420.
22. What is the highest prime number between 1 and 50?
Switch.
47.
Correct. Ed, multiply the number the amplifier goes up to in This Is Final Tap by the number of horsemen of the apocalypse.
44.
Correct. Leszek, what is 1/3 of 99 minus 1/2 of 64?
1.
Correct. Ed, what is $9.10 minus 9 nickels?
865.
Correct. Ed, you're out of time. Leszek, you keep 16.83 seconds to take through to the final round.
Wow.
I didn't think either of these guys would lose their cool as much as they are. They're getting a bit shaky now.
Little finicky.
In fact, Dennis, that was 5 switches and 1 pass. But the real story here is that Leszek in that round got 6 out of 6 correct. And so far to date, 11 out of 13 correct. Ed has answered 10 out of 16 questions correctly and lost both these rounds. And Leszek is in the lead, taking a 35.89-second advantage into the final round.
Well, you know, usually I wouldn't say 35.8, that's insurmountable usually, but Leszek is a beast. Players walking off for a much-needed break to mentally and physically prepare themselves. Indeed, Leszek has brought in his own private nurse from Copenhagen to put the Red Bull IV in between the 3rd and 4th toes, counting from the big toe out on his right foot. They're going to get all caught up. We'll get caught up. There's lots more to come on Grand Slam. When it returns, we'll be right back.
Once the questions start coming, you sort of snap into the groove and you're focused on answering it. But before that, it's like, I feel for Ed. There was that one question where basically he didn't realize that it was his turn. He stood and he lost up a bunch of seconds.
14.
So that's unfortunate. But, you know, Ed easily has a difficulty come back, so I have to stay on my toes.
Well, I knew Leszek was going to be tough. In fact, he was my pick to win it all when we went into it. So I just had the rough draw of being seated against him. I think Leszek is a very worthy opponent, but I hope I can rally in the second half.
Wow, you know, Leszek sounding pretty confident there, but why not? The guy's a beast. All right, guys, you're heading back into the arena for the next round of our Grand Slam tournament. This is the penultimate round, as they say, man.
Right. Well, I tell you, 35.89 seconds, Dennis, is a lot of time to make up. But as we've seen in the past, contestants can get stumped on one particular question, and that can knock a whole lot of seconds off your clock.
Yeah, but Leszek, man, he's like an animatronic.
You're in love
It's
with
geniuses
Leszek, huh?
of the Caribbean. I don't see this guy flinching. Let's find out what happens, as once again, they are now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions. Round 3 is the words and letters round. You have both used all your switches. Ed, you'll go first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. Which planet is hidden in this phrase?
Saturn.
Earth. The name of what other Japanese city is an anagram of Japan's
Kyoto.
capital? Correct. Leszek, which vowel in pistachio occurs twice?
I.
Correct. Ed, spell neophyte.
N-E-O-P-H-Y-T-E.
Correct. Leszek, what pea is a breed of horse and a variety of grape used to make sherry?
Palomino.
Correct. Ed, separate the 2 Tom Cruise movies in this jumble.
Magnolia and Cocktail.
Correct. Leszek, what does the L stand for in the nonprofit organization known as the ACLU?
Liberties.
Correct. Ed, what 3-letter word links eagle to soar?
I.
Correct. Leszek, separate the European country from its capital city in this jumble.
Helsinki and Finland.
Correct. Ed, the name of what U.S. state capital is an anagram of not a brogue?
Montgomery.
Baton Rouge. Spell azalea.
A-Z-A-L-E-A.
Correct. Leszek, what letter would you add to get a disease caused by a lack of vitamin C?
F.
Correct. Ed, what word meaning an organized plan is hidden in the spelling of the popular ice cream brand Haagen-Dazs?
Agenda.
Correct. Leszek, what F is a legal opinion or ruling issued by an Islamic scholar?
Fatwa.
Correct. Ed, what spiritual author's name is an anagram of cheap poker ad?
Pass.
Deepak Chopra. Ed, what 6-letter word links navel to roughy? The correct answer is orange. Ed, you're out of time. Leszek, you keep 25.58 seconds to take through to the final round.
Well, Leszek lording it over Ed like a Gainesville, Florida cop smashing a drunk and a wife-beater's face into a rain-soaked parking lot on a particularly good episode of the TV show Cops. Statistics, Amanda.
Well, in English, Dennis, that meant that Leszek has actually got 89% of his questions correct so far versus Ed's 64%, which gives Leszek a 1-minute, 1.47 second lead to take into the final round. And they also have a switch left each in the final round.
You give Leszek Pawlowicz a minute. You might as well have given him the whole world. Only one more round to go until either Ed or Leszek will be heading for the quarterfinals, while the others will be heading back home. We'll see who prevails in the all-important final round when we return on Grand Slam.
The answers will need to come fast and furious for Ed Toutant as he tries to battle his way back against Leszek Pawlowicz in the final round when Grand Slam returns.
Hey there, fellow citizens. Welcome back to Grand Slam Game Show. Demigods Ed Toutant and Leszek Pawlowicz are about to face each other for one last time to see who will earn the spot in our quarterfinals. Amanda, any predictions?
Well, I know you're going to disagree with me, but I say that Ed Toutant is no walkover. I mean, I think if anyone is going to come back at this stage of the game, it would be Ed. But I know you're a bit of a Leszek.
Man, Ed's a good player, but listen, if he comes back from this, it's going to supersede the 51 Giants in baseball as the greatest comeback in the history of the game. I'm not sure Eddie's and Bobby Thompson will give him a shot. Okay, the moment has arrived. Let's join our contestants for the final time tonight. They're now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions. Contestants, this is the final round. Ed, you kept no time from earlier rounds. That means you have a total of 1 minute on your clock. Leszek, you kept 1 minute, 1.47 seconds. You have a total of 2 minutes, 1.47 seconds on your clock. Both contestants receive an additional switch. Ed, you have 1 switch. Leszek, you have 1 switch. Leszek, you will go first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. The fictional town of West Egg, New York is the setting for much of what novel?
The Great Gatsby.
Correct. Ed, in 2006, what Wall Street firm announced it was awarding over $16 billion in employee compensation?
Goldman Sachs.
Correct. Leszek, the second of 2 full moons occurring within 1 calendar month is known as what?
Blue Moon.
Correct. Ed, what 4-letter word links pillow to radio?
Talk.
Correct. Leszek, multiply the number of days in a fortnight by the number of bears in the Goldilocks tale.
42.
Correct. Ed, the CMA Awards are presented to artists in what genre of
Country music.
Correct. Leszek, presidential daughter Chelsea Clinton was named after a song written by what 60s singer?
Joni Mitchell.
Correct. Ed, what is 22 plus 26 divided by 4?
12.
Correct. Leszek, which of these letters would you drop to get a body part of a bird?
L.
Correct. Ed, what summer fashion staple was named after an atomic bomb test site
Bikini.
in the remote Pacific? Correct. Leszek, the sports drink Gatorade gets its name from the nickname of what university's football team?
Florida.
Correct. Ed, what is 8.4 plus 4.8?
13.2.
Correct. Leszek, what H is a three-line poem that must have exactly 17 syllables?
Haiku.
Correct. Ed, what mint is said to contain a breath-freshening ingredient called retsin?
Search.
Correct. Leszek, how many right angles does a square have?
4.
Correct. Ed, what is the first name of the successful fashion designer who is also the daughter of Paul McCartney?
Stella.
Correct. Leszek, what American restaurant chain is known by the acronym IHOP?
International House of Pancakes.
Correct. Ed, Parcheesi is the American adaptation of a game that originated in what country?
India.
Correct. Leszek, what late singer and guitarist is an anagram of racy rear jig?
Switch.
Switch.
Pass.
Jerry Garcia. Leszek, in a song by the band Styx, what two words follow the phrase domo arigato?
Mr. Roboto.
Correct. Ed, North America's Great Lakes are comprised of how many individual lakes?
5.
Correct. Leszek, what controversial French dish made from goose livers was banned from Chicago restaurants in 2006?
Pâté de foie gras.
Correct. Ed, which of these famous Georges is actually a woman? Mason, Sand, or Thorogood?
Sand.
Correct. Ed, you're out of time. Leszek, you are tonight's Grand Slam winner.
That's what I call going down fighting.
Listen, Ed's a cute kid, but Leszek is a Prometheus who turns men who are heretofore champions into stammerers with a Nixon-like sweaty upper lip. You do not want to mess with that guy. Well, big congratulations go out to Leszek on beating a worthy opponent. Taking a look once again at our tournament bracket. Let's see who's still in this thing.
Well, it looks like we'll be seeing Leszek Pawlowicz in the quarterfinals playing David Legler or Lieutenant Frank Spangenberg.
Well, Amanda, you were such nice company tonight. Thank you for being here. We've had a fun night at the Sony Studios for the Jeopardy guys, Brad Rutter and Leszek Pawlowicz. And for myself, Dennis Miller, Amanda Byram, everybody else at Grand Slam. Good night, friends.
Next time on Grand Slam, the competition intensifies as Raheem Oberholzer from 21 takes on Phyllis Harris, a fierce competitor of 6 different game shows.
Jack of all trades, probably our most experienced player.
But Raheem is one of our biggest winners.
That scares the living daylights out of me.
Then, Millionaire's first $1 million winner, John Carpenter, faces the legend Tom McKee.
Let's see if Tom is a legend or a myth.
Back for his first game show competition in more than 20 years.
Good luck.
Watch our Major League contestants fight it out next time on Grand Slam.
That was a great final round. Too bad I got too far behind to really catch up a whole lot. But I did make up a little ground, and I think we showed what Grand Slam can be when it's played at its best level.
When I found out that I was facing it, I was really very freaked out, and I'm just really happy that it turned out the way this did.
Well, I wouldn't miss this for the world. This is the Super Bowl of trivia, so I'm going to be in the audience and having a good time.